What's up YouTube? In this video, we're talking about how to go selectively viral within your niche, which is a term that I basically just made up. You might have seen it other places, but selective reach, selective virality is really what we should be aiming for if we're on social media with the goal of selling a product. We're not just making videos for fun. We're not just an influencer kind of wasting time or dancing on social media. If you're selling a physical, tangible, digital, online product, you have a business behind social media and all your efforts going towards it. That's how you justify those efforts. Then virality and reach could mean absolutely nothing. There's people that go absolutely viral, and you could do things that make you go viral, like put a fork in a toaster and get millions and millions of views, but does that do anything for your business, right? So that's the obvious example. But at the same time, there's people that understand the first principle of this and kind of generally that they need to speak to their audience and that they need to make the right videos. They have to target the right people to sell their product and have congruency between their content and their product and things like that. But it still doesn't work. And it's usually because they don't understand the principles that I'm going to be running through in this video. But it's honestly one of the most important things in your strategy is, in the first place, having the clarity that the type of content you're posting is going to reach the right audience that could eventually convert on your product. So now that we got that out of the way, we know why it's important. We know why most people struggle with it, which might be the exact situation you're sitting in. Let's just hop straight into the details of this. So how to go selectively viral within your niche. The core concept here is that selectively being viral is going viral with the right people and not just anyone, obviously. And so we're going for obviously quality followers over quantity of followers. Again, we could have 1 million followers, but none of them can convert on our product, and views and followers doesn't equal direct just money that we're pocketing. And also, since we have a niche, we're selling a specific product most likely. What we want is niche authority and not broad entertainment. Like, you got to work backwards from the goals, the model, and really like what you're selling. If you have a podcast, for example, you're going to have a great ROI on broad entertainment, on reaching millions of people, because your business model is getting eyeballs, is getting attention from consumer audiences. But if you're selling a specific product, you probably need what's known as niche authority. You need to be the guy of this niche, the go-to of this niche, especially if in the case that you're selling something like a high ticket service or info product or like anything over really $1,000 online, you're going to need that niche authority. And so step one is super crucial. It's working backwards from your ideal avatar. And this doesn't just mean like knowing who they are kind of and asking ChatGPT like what's 20 questions that people in the fitness space that want to lose weight and gain muscle might have. It's knowing a bit more than that. So you don't have to know this like all the time and always have it in mind, but when you're building out your content strategy, designing like what pillars, what topics, what formats, you should have these things down first, because it's definitely the groundwork. And this is what I set up with all my clients. We want to start right here. Who's your perfect client slash follower? Like, who's your ideal follower? And we want to get everything down here. Even if it seems like some of this data and stats like don't matter, it's going to provide so much more clarity when we go into ideation, when we go into scripting, when we have new ideas, when we feed all of this to an AI LLM and have it build off of our ideas in the groundwork. We always have to lead it with context, of course, in the example of using AI. And so we want to dump all of this demographics wise, age, income, role, industry, psychographics, goals, fears, values, beliefs, super important, current situation versus desired outcome. Because now what we can do is translate this to our messaging strategy. Now we can speak their language. Now we can use industry terms, use the relevant pain points, reference their specific struggles, use examples they relate to, address their objections directly. Now what we have is relevancy. That's the most important thing. Really the most important thing in social media, because most of the other stuff is really easy, is having relevancy in your topic. Now going a step further into selling an actual product to a specific audience that has enough trust and you've caught their attention in the first place, relevancy of topics within this niche. That's what's super important. For example, if your content attracts broke college kids, but you sell 5K coaching or like B2B services, you're obviously doing it completely wrong. Step two, we want to go a bit further and get some leverage. This will be super important in our content because these are the main things that are going to grab attention and also build intent of why someone should actually buy from us. And the main thing we're doing here is finding common problems and pain points. And this isn't business 101 by any means, but what is a product at the end of the day? It's a solution to problems. So we have to work backwards and speak these into our content and make it a core pillar of what we're putting out to build the actual intent and align the actual value to our products and attach overall need in our audience's mind to want to buy that, buy into the transformation, buy into the value. And so there's a few technical ways we can find these. Generally, it's just really knowing the common problems, knowing the pain points, but we can also look at comments on competitors' posts. We can go on forums, we can look in groups, looking back at just your own experiences, client conversations, sales call objections that you got. We want to implement this data, implement this feedback and research. And a lot of this you might already know, but we want to do that second step of implementing it into our actual content, because then we have more clarity of how this actually translates to our content angles, which is all this foundation work and setting up your messaging and strategy is all about. Having the clarity to know that the content you're going to make, the topics you're going to talk on, formats you're going to do, etc., is going to be actually relevant and aligned to our end goal of who are we selling to and what are we selling. And so then this translates into things like why common solution doesn't work, the real reason you're stuck with problem. Now it's all congruent. Now it's all relevant. Now a third one that a lot of people either won't do or they'll just do it the wrong way, which is tying big trends to your niche. I'm not going to say say don't do these. I'm actually going to say the opposite, but with a catch. So a ton of people follow trends, and a ton of social media gurus out there tell you to
stay within your niche and you're not going to get anything out of trends.
Not true. The fact of the matter is that if a trend is big enough, it's impacting everyone on social media. Everyone kind of knows about it. So do we want to completely follow the trend? No, because we don't want to target everyone. That's not going to benefit us. But we want to go mini viral. We want to have selective virality within our niche. So how can we capitalize on a trend to reach as many people in our niche? Is we can take a trend and we can translate it into what's relevant and find a way to tie it in to our actual niche. For example, if you're in e-commerce and you're coaching people on how to start Shopify brands, private label, whatever it is, any form of online arbitrage, and there's a specific AI tool that's trending and it's going around and basically everyone in the business space knows about it, people outside of that space, it's going viral, right? We don't want to just talk about that tool. It has nothing to do with our brand, has nothing to do with e-commerce. We need people in the ecosystem having e-commerce in their mind, right? Having it be something they want to do or they're doing right now and they want to scale. So what we do is we tie this in with how to use this tool with growing your e-commerce business, how to grow your e-commerce business using this tool. Long story short, you take your niche, you take the trend, mash them together, make it work, have alignment, and niche the trend down. This one's a really good one if we do it the right way. So I wouldn't take the advice to heart of don't follow trends or do follow trends, super vague advice, and just do the same thing other people are doing and it doesn't tie in, it doesn't help your brand at all. If anything, it just brings in a bunch of followers and attention that don't help you in any way and create an overall disconnect from the audience you want to have to a bunch of random people that have nothing to do with your niche or brand, what you're talking about. And number 4, simple but overlooked. You're following the same best practices of social media. You're not reinventing the wheel with content, right? But you're staying niche relevant. So I'm going to tie it all together with this final point. Universal best practices, strong hooks, pattern interrupts, clear value delivery, compelling packaging in your content, all important things. Just because we have a different trend does not mean these things don't apply. A lot of people will create content, they're in a smaller niche, their total market that they can target and audience they can target is way smaller. So they're like, oh, I'm going to go make my own form of content. I think my audience will resonate with this more. I'm not going to take these captions. I'll just do no captions. I'm going to make my own format. It doesn't work. There's no familiarity behind it. And the other thing to understand is that the principles of what make content work at the surface still matter. The formats of content, reaction videos, using captions, using the right music, all these things matter, but it's just the surface. So we don't ignore it. We still do all that. If we don't do that in the first place, our content just fails at step 1 of it's not engaging. It's not interesting. It's not going to capture any attention, let alone the attention of the people that we need. But we get the people that we need by having relevancy and the right messaging in our content strategy to reach those people, but we don't disregard the overall best practices of how to create content in the first place. And then we tie in our niche. We're relevant within our niche. Industry specific examples, reference known figures, address niche specific objections, solve problems only your audience has. It's a balance, right? Viral mechanics, niche messaging equals selectively viral. We want to do social media right. We don't want to chase everyone's attention. We want to earn the right people's trust. And when we go viral within our niche, we become an authority. We have higher conversion rates, better clients, and sustainable growth. And that's what it's all about. And that's exactly what I help clients do, done for you. Meaning if you run a business online and you could benefit from getting on social media the right way, you're selling a service online, you're selling products online, I'll leave a link down below where you can book all to speak directly with me one-on-one, see if you're a good fit, run through your situation, see if and how we could help you out. Hope this video helped. Subscribe for more like this, and I'll see you in the next one.